Hello and welcome to Talk of Games. Just finished West Ham United 0, Dinamo Zagreb 1 in the final group stage game of the Europa League. As the Hammers have already secured the last 16 space, so they go into the last 16. Dinamo Zagreb finished second in the group and they go through to the last 32 slash the last 24. And they take on a side that finished third in the Champions League. We're here to discuss the highlights of the match. Gonzo, we didn't have to wait long. 4 minutes in, 1-0 Zagreb.
Yeah, and initially I thought it was a wonder strike, particularly the way the ball sort of shaped like it was going out and bent back in. And it's just a bit of a shame, actually, that it wasn't a wonder strike because at that point I was willing to happily concede. Just a masterstroke of technique, really. Unfortunately, as replays showed, he kicked it off Fornals' foot, which is I feel a bit sorry for everyone. Actually, I feel a bit sorry for the player. I feel a bit sorry for Fornals. I doubt it'd be given as an own goal, but let's be fair, it wasn't heading on target, so it was heading wide and then dipped in, and Fornals' foot made it sort of spin in. But at the time, I didn't know. It wasn't until I saw the replay at half time I realised what had gone on. At the time, I thought, fair play. You say, what do you say? Show me a goal and I'll show you a mistake. I wasn't particularly seeing one there. I thought, well, if you can bang it in from there, fair play, you're going to win a lot of games. So I wasn't particularly bothered at that point.
No, if you don't buy a ticket, you can't win lottery and all that. So he shapes up, has a dig, takes a bit of a deflection. It's a fluky goal in the end, but Orsic half deserves it. If you're willing to have shots like that from distance, eventually you are going to get a bit of luck on your side. And it was there was a bit of it where I just thought, while the youngsters, while the young lads, the defenders in particular, didn't have anything to do with it. It wasn't their fault of that. You could imagine after 4 minutes conceding a goal, they must probably be thinking they would have to concede so early on. I'd imagine the manager's message to them early on would have been just keep it simple. Nothing too fancy. Don't take any gambles. Just keep it straightforward. You'll be all right in 4-0, 1-0 down. But 1-0 at half-time, Gonzo. We're just going to skip to the half-time because I think the big talking points are more about player performance and youngsters that we've seen rather than the game itself. So at half-time, what were you thinking?
I'll tell you what I was thinking. I thought, and I'm glad you brought up that back four there because I was really pleased with them. They can take a lot from that, actually, because there's no blame apportioned to any of that. And in their own individual ways, I thought they all had really good games, actually. And what I was very disappointed, actually. I was very disappointed with two players in particular. And one of them had his collar felt at half-time anyway, and rightly so. You need to give those players a chance. Okay, that wasn't an important game today, but it was an important game for the young players. And I felt we had a couple of players in Fornals, and actually, I don't mean an effort. I don't want to get Fornals' effort. You can never really fault it, but his quality was terrible. And actually, there was one point, and I started counting. I thought I'm going to start counting here. He was giving the ball away over half the time. And what Perkins really needed. So I felt that back four needed a hand. They were given that hand. So I felt Krau at least started the game well. And I thought Noble was such a leader in that game. So I felt that Noble and Krau did their job in terms of helping out that back four. I also thought Vlasic in the first half started on the left because we're talking about that one. But Vlasic really helped out Longello by putting in a shift. Really ran and really helped him. Perkins needed some help, and he needed some help from Yarmolenko and needed some help from Fornals. He didn't get it, and it wasn't a particularly important game. And I thought, in particular, Yarmolenko played like it wasn't an important game. Yarmolenko played like he's seen 100 of those games in his time, and this one didn't matter, but it did matter. It mattered because it was a big game for our young players. I was very disappointed with what I saw, actually.
Yeah, I mean, just to pick on your point there, I think you're going to say that Yarmolenko and Fornals should have supported Perkins more. I think you have to say that about Vlasic too, to be fair. Because he's got a similar role to Yarmolenko.
Technique, yes. His technique was poor, but he worked his arse off. But yeah, I totally agree. That three there needed to support Perkins more.
Yeah, at half-time, I was okay. The problem is, unless we got a slapping tonight, I think it was going to be hard to be disappointed as a West Ham fan this evening because I think most people felt like the result didn't really matter to some extent. And even though we've lost the game, I feel like we had a little victory in our own way, which isn't the result, but it's the performance and the ability to have 5 youngsters start the game, have 2 players come on and make their debut as well. And the result didn't really matter to West Ham or me as a fan at the end of the day. It was more about the performance of the youngsters. And if you said to me you'll get beat, but the young lads will play good games, or you'll win the game, but the young lads will play crap, I think I'd possibly have taken the first option, actually, because I think long term will benefit far more from the young lads playing well tonight. And at half time, I was all right. I know we were getting beat, but it was a freak goal that we were losing by. Bar that, I thought, Ariel, I'd had a comfortable enough game, and for that to happen, the defence must be doing something right. I do think they were largely untested to some extent, because once they go 1-0 up, they had to sit back, they had to drop back a little bit deeper and protect their lead, because this was an important game for them. Not so much us, but they needed to make sure they got the win, so they weren't relying on what was going on between Vienna and Genk. And funny enough, there was 2 players I was a bit disappointed in at half-time. One was Yarmolenko. The other one was actually Mark Noble. And he wasn't playing badly. I just expected to see him playing better in the first half. I wanted to see Mark Noble running the show at the London Stadium in the first half. I didn't really feel I got that. And I felt that the positives from the first half, and probably arguably over 90 minutes, was actually from the young lads. And if there is disappointing things, it's from the more experienced players, because tonight was an addition for the young players, but it was also an addition for a few of the more experienced ones too. And I think 1 or 2 of them have let themselves and the manager down a little bit. We'll get onto that in a second, going, because the second half, Benrahma come on for Pablo Fornals, made a bit of a difference going forward, gave us a bit of an edge, a bit of a threat. But largely quite a quiet second half, really. Nothing too much to talk about.
No, and it's I mean, the corners, you could tell like none of our corner takers were there.
Well, Fornals was in the first half.
Oh, okay, yeah, but he let Mark Noble take it. And I don't understand why didn't Mark Noble just turn around and say, "Look, Gaffer, I've got to be honest, mate. I've been here for years. What I'm going to do is just going to hit that first man, probably in the back of the belly. Really, won't get it up and over." But no, okay, I'll trot up and just do the usual. And then Benrahma caught Mark Nobleitis. And he took a corner and basically it hit the first man in the midriff. But no, I thought Benrahma attacked them. What I felt we lacked today was a playmaker, was a passer in the middle. I thought it would have made a hell of a difference to us. I just felt sorry for Perkins up there, running that like that, and he got bullied a little bit as well. Sorry, what was your question?
I didn't really have one. I just said the second half was pretty quiet. There's nothing to really talk about. There's not much incidents that is worth mentioning too much. There's little snippets here and there, but nothing.
No, but the fullbacks were pushing up, and I really like that because, let's be fair, there was no playmaker in the middle, and there was nothing really happening. If Benrahma wasn't going to dribble the ball, that was the only way we looked even remotely likely to score. So I like the fullbacks were pushing up, and in their own individual way for different players, the 2 fullbacks. But I thought they both impressed for different reasons actually, and fair play to them. I mean, really, really fair play to them. And look. What I did think in the second half, because obviously it was a big game for Zagreb, so all the tricks start coming out, which I don't blame them for at all. I mean, honestly, it's actually a massive, massive victory for them tonight to get into, we win, they go out. Probably, I haven't seen the other result, but I don't know if Genk won or not. I don't know. Did they? Did Genk win?
I don't believe so. I don't believe they were relying on the result in the end.
Okay, but they wouldn't have known because the games play at the same time, the final ones. They don't. Crikey, that's crap. How'd they manage that? That's a swindle, isn't it?
No, they were playing at the same time, sorry.
Oh, they were. Good. I was going to say. But they would have gone into it thinking, okay, if we lose this and Genk win, we're out. So it's a big game. We talk about us drawing Barcelona. Zagreb might draw Barcelona. Do you know what I mean? If they do, that's millions of pounds for them, probably. Do you know what I mean? That'd probably be their biggest... It'd probably be the biggest television game in the country all year in Croatia. It's a big game. So they were trying all the tricks, the rolling around and the time wasted. And no, you take the throw. Oh, no, you take the throw. No, I'll tell you what, why don't you take the throw? All that business, the goalkeeper rolling around. There was one point, one of the defenders He took him 3 or 4 seconds to remember, and he went, and then fell on the floor. Okay, so they're doing all the tricks. They're also doing all the cynical fouls. They're doing all the stuff. I was watching it thinking, this is really good for those young players because they were big and they were strong. But experience, our young players are big and strong as well, but it was almost like experience strength with the tricks and the naughtiness and all the rest of it. And this will do them. And I remember watching it thinking they will, just even after tonight, they'll be better players for that. And I just think some of them come up with real credit. And so we got some good players in the academy. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I thought the young lads gave it their all, really. I thought there's a couple of tackles they didn't duck out of at the very end there, even when the game felt like it was dying out a little bit. And the keeper tried to keep it in, but it was given a corner, and at least they went and sort of not quite wrestled the goalkeeper. We could see him saying, "Give us the bloody ball back. We want to get going. We're going to try and get an equaliser here." Then him again at the very end. There was a 60-40 in the keeper's favour. Didn't matter anyway. He said, "No, I'm having this. I want an equaliser. I want to draw this game. I don't want to lose." I thought the attitude from the young players tonight was spot on. I think the attitude from the senior players was a little bit disappointed to some extent. I think for the young ones to perform at their peak, for them to really impress, they need those around them to play as well. And I felt like they were maybe a little bit let down, which in one or two of the players' cases, I can understand. I can understand why Pablo Fornals perhaps wasn't given 100% because he will be involved in some capacity on Sunday. I can understand that. But what I can't understand is why perhaps Vlasic or Kral or Yarmolenko, who I've got absolutely no guarantee of playing against Burnley on Sunday. I felt like they could have done a bit more to help the youngsters out tonight a little bit. But I'm not angry or worked up or anything like that. I enjoyed what I saw from the young lads. Anyway, it finished. West Ham 0, Zagreb won this evening. Now, let's talk about a couple of individual performers, Gonzo. But before we do, there's one individual performer I want to talk about, or the potential individual performance of Mo Salah. I know people are thinking, what are you on about? This video is sponsored by Ultimate Fan Fantasy. It's a free fantasy football app. The link is in the description below. Get it downloaded. It's free to download, free to join up, but you play for big money, Gonzo. You can see there at the top of my team, it says that the deadline's in 1 day, and the prize pool is £5,000 for this weekend. 6-a-side football, combining pack opening with Fantasy League. You get a free pack every week. Gonzo's best player is a Birmingham striker now.
Troy Deeney.
Gonzo hasn't been playing it.
No, look. In all honesty, I haven't. But I haven't been playing the official Premier League game either. But I've got a really good excuse because I've had to swap phones, and I don't remember my password. Anyway, don't let that put you off. One of the good things about this game, though, is one of the reasons I don't carry on with the official fantasy Premier League is because if you don't get in the first 2 or 3 weeks, you're kippered. You'll never catch up. This one refreshes every single time. So it doesn't matter. You can actually start tomorrow, and what it will do is it'll aggregate all of the points from whatever the next game week in the Premier League, and it'll put them all together. So basically, it gives out prizes. And we've had Hammers Chat winners, by the way. Some of them are £5, some are 30 quid, some 50, some on even 100 quid. They dish out these prizes, and it starts fresh each week. Open the packs, get excited. Unless you get Troy Deeney, in which case, don't get excited. The link's in the description below.
I got Mo Salah. I'm excited for this weekend. I'm hoping for some money with my team. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, as Gonzo said, link in description, completely free. Get involved. It helps the channel out a lot. It really does help.
It really does
a lot. Right. Individual players. I normally ask you to take your pick, Gonzo, but there's one in particular I want to talk about. Yeah, that's Alex Kral. Now, the reason for that is whenever the ball went out, whenever there was a substitution, I tried to have a flick on social media to gauge people's opinions of, well, everything really. I didn't say, what do you think of this? I was just reading what people were saying. And Kral, and Vlasic to some extent, but Kral in particular seemed to split the fan base. I thought some people felt like he had a good game and some people thought he was just dreadful. Obviously, there's people in the middle, but most people agreed Yarmolenko was crap. Most people agreed Harrison Ashby was fantastic, but Kral seemed to be the one this game that just had people.
Oh, well, I'm not going to be able to clear that up, I'm afraid, Gio, because I thought Kral, that's what I mentioned in the comment. I said at the start, I thought Kral started well and got progressively worse. But I was impressed with what I saw at the start. I thought he made a couple of good tackles really well. I thought he made some good passes early on as well. And actually, he's quicker than I thought he was. Unfortunately, as the game went on, it just became more and more evident we lacked any creativity in that team. I understand it's not necessarily Alex Kral's job. But the trouble is when you lack creativity, when a pass isn't coming from Yarmolenko, when the cross isn't coming from Vlasic, when Fornals can't open it up, when Noble can't really do it, when basically there's no passes, there's no creativity at all, you do start looking in other places. You start thinking, oh, can the fullback do it? And you start looking at people, and then I started thinking, well, I wonder if Alex Kral can do something. I wonder if he can do like a Souček and get in and nod it in or something like that. And I just thought that the longer it went on, the worse he got. But I did sort of, I think it was a commentator, might have been Martin Keown, and I sort of agreed with him when he turned around and said about fitness. This guy's just not playing. So am I surprised he sort of played all right in the first 20 minutes and gradually got worse? I guess I'm not. That being said, Gio, you know what I think about Alex Kral. I don't think we're signing him. I don't think he's up to the standards. I don't think David Moyes, I've said this consistently for 2 or 3 months now. I don't think he's signing for West Ham. It doesn't. He looks like he falls between the margins a little bit for what we need. He's not the attacking player that perhaps we need. I don't necessarily think he's the Colossus. He's not Makalele or what's Kansai? That's his name, isn't it? Kansai, that's the fella's name. Forget Chelsea. He's I don't think he's that either. So actually, Kante's about that big, and so is Makalele. But you know what I mean. The guy to clean up in front of the back four. I don't think he was the worst culprit today, though. I really don't.
I thought he was all right. I was relatively impressed with him. I think out of possession, I was really impressed with him. I thought he covered a lot of ground. I thought he worked hard. I thought he broke up play reasonably well. I thought he put himself about. And when I felt that, you know, I know this isn't a fair barometer, but when I felt that Yarmolenko wasn't really taking the game particularly seriously, I thought Alex Kral was. I thought Kral went out there with a point to prove. In possession, not the best, to get the ball away a little bit, but I almost felt like he tried too hard. He was trying to dink over the top and stuff. And I thought, hang on, surely this isn't your game. You're supposed to be like a defensive midfielder that can play centre back. And then he was trying to through ball to put Harrison Ashby in behind the fullback. And I just thought, whoa, you're good at the defensive side of stuff, but you're trying to do this stuff that's not really suited for you. But then, to some extent, I thought, well, why not? No one else is doing it. I guess at least he's got a bit of bollocks about him to say, well, I'm going to start trying stuff now because no one else is going to do it. So I'm going to try and play the full back in behind. And at least you could spot the run of Harrison Ashby, and it probably encourages Ashby next time to do it again because Kral will try and pick you out. The worst thing that's possible for a full back that keeps bombing on is keep bombing on and no one tries to pass it to you. It's almost better that someone tries it but doesn't quite work out. And I thought he was all right, to be honest with you. Like you say, you could tell he hasn't played for a while, and you might not be a Makalele, but we don't need a Makalele. We're not expecting him to be a Makalele. I was reasonably encouraged by Alex Kral tonight. Actually, I watched it, and I thought I wouldn't mind seeing him next to Declan Rice in particular. We know he can play next to Souček. We saw it for Czech Republic. It works for Czech Republic. And I just thought tonight, he's Mark Noble's pointing out the best partner for him in a game like this. He needs somebody a little bit more advanced, a little bit better. And I thought Declan Rice would have been better for him. But I thought Kral was okay. He's not going to get when we do the ratings tomorrow morning for the patrons, I'm not going to give him a 10 out of 10 or anything. But I thought it was a solid performance from him, to be honest with you. I was encouraged by it, I should say. Now you can take your individual picks. I guess we've got the youngsters, but don't pick them all because we've got the patron player ratings to do tomorrow.
Yeah,
we'll keep this review short and sweet. So pick a couple of players and let's have your tuppence on them, please, Gonzo.
Okay. I just before you go, I just want to pick you up on something you said before you started gloating about Mo Salah in your fantasy league team. I do want to separate Vlasic from Yarmolenko. All right.
Yes.
I don't think Vlasic could have done any more. I think he put everything into that. I think what you're seeing is a lack of ability. I think he worked his arse off, socks off, something. He works the socks off his arse, that boy, right? I really do. I think his attitude was brilliant. And I think he's just got it in abundance. He just carried on. I think he's a workaholic. I don't think his ability is quite up to what we hoped it might be at the moment. I keep trying to add that in there in the hope to be sort of polite. But Yarmolenko didn't give everything. That's not as good as Yarmolenko can do. That's not everything he's got. And I'm really disappointed with that. And I didn't. And it's not about winning. I don't care. far more positives that I take from that game than negatives. I really, really
Yeah.
do. But I feel I feel like I do. I feel like, well, number one, there was a lot of fans in there tonight. A lot of fans packed in there, and I know the tickets wouldn't have been 80 quid each. I'm sure they were dishing them out for a tenner or whatever. But a lot of people have turned up for that. A lot of and he owed it to the fans, and he owed it to, forget about owing it to himself. He owed it to the fans, and he owed it to those young players to be the creative part. He's the second best top scorer ever in the history of the Ukraine. He's, after Shevchenko, he is the guy, right? He signed for Borussia Dortmund. He's the man, right? And he can put the ball through. He can do the final ball. He can do the shot. He can, come on, mate. I was not happy with that at all. So I just wanted to separate those two. In terms of picking a player out, I think I might go with Elise for this one. And I was very impressed with what I saw. And I say I'm impressed with others for different reasons. I can see why people are drooling over Baptiste, right? I can see it. The physical attributes that kid has got, and I guess is 2 or 3 years behind Elise in terms of age, I think, possibly. Don't know.
Yeah, Elise is 21. Baptiste turned 18 a few weeks ago.
Okay, so he was, yeah, okay. So I can see why they're drooling about Baptiste. Crikey, he's going to be a player. You can see that. But I tell you what, as a player for the here and the now, as a player that could possibly step into the first team, Elise, what can I say about him? I thought he was the best passer in our team tonight, actually, a lot of the time. I thought there was times when he was telling people where to go. There was a time where there was a couple of points where Ashby had the ball at right back, and he was pointing. He was basically saying, "Right, give it to Baptiste." Then to Baptiste, you say, "No, don't give it to me. Give it to Noble." And then Noble got the ball, and he told Mark Noble to pass it to Longelo. Well, okay. This is good. This is really, really good. I felt he had a will to win. He had a desire to win. It looked like, and it looks like he's got a football brain as well. His positioning seems pretty good. His technique's good. He's strong, and he seems to like the battle as well. He got into a little thing. I think it was early on, maybe in the first 20 minutes of the first half. And then there was another one where it wasn't easy, but the ball was about to roll out of play, and he had to get into a little bit. It had to get a little bit attritional first, and he sort of stepped in front of him. It showed a bit of wisdom, really, and it won. It was a nothing part in the game, and maybe something that would pass without notice. But I looked at it and I thought, okay, he's just, all he did was win us the goal kick, and it wasn't a corner. But it looked, there was a wisdom to what he did. I was impressed with what I saw today.
Yeah, I really liked Elise. I've heard good things about him for a while. He's someone I've been itching to see a little bit. I thought tonight I thought he was brilliant, really. It was hard. He was largely untested defensively, especially in the second half. He played more in Zagreb's half than his own half. But every time he got the ball, his first touch was to knock it a yard in front of him with his head up, striding forward a little bit. And he's a real ball playing centre back. And it's funny, you speak about telling Noble what to do. I went on at half time. When Charlie doesn't watch so long, I go on at half time so you can go to the toilet. And I went on to Charlie. I basically said to Charlie, "Did you see Elise telling Mark Noble what to do with the ball?" Yeah, you can tell he's the captain of the 23s, and that's the benefit of him playing with Longelo and Baptiste tonight. And I thought Baptiste and Elise were whizzing the passes to each other as well. It wasn't soft 5-yard things. It was proper off the deck 20-yard passes across the pitch. There you go, mate. I know you can control that. Bang. Them two, the way they control the ball, like I said, they weren't under pressure as such, but they were just really good at it, just comfortable with the ball at their feet. You can tell the way down the 23s play football. I thought Elise was brilliant. But I'm gonna disagree with you about Yarmolenko. No, I'm agreeing with you about Yarmolenko. With Vlasic, I think there's more to come. Gonzo. I think he will be a good player eventually. We've got to be patient. He's only been here 3 months or something. Didn't have a pre-season. Really, this sort of still is his pre-season. And I have to say, I thought Moyes buggered it for Vlasic a bit tonight because we switched to 4-4-2, or I felt we switched to 4-4-2 in the second half. Moved Yarmolenko up front alongside Perkins and Vlasic over to the right, so Ben Rama come on the left. And I thought that stifled Vlasic's game a little bit. But I think for Vlasic to look good this evening, he needed players around him. He needed people to play football with. He couldn't play football with Yarmolenko. So in front of him, he's got Yarmolenko. Behind him, he's got the young lad Ashby, who I thought I had a good first half. I faded in the second half a bit, which is down Vlasic's side. In the middle, he's got Corral and no ball. You know, I just felt he was on. He didn't really have a fair crack at the whip. I thought in the front there was some moments of technique I thought was really good. Someone put a long ball over the top for him. He's running under it, looking up at it. First touch brought it down at his
First
feet.
touch was good. I know the bit you mean.
Fantastic touch. And I just thought, here we go. We've got a player here now. And there's a couple of times in the second half he's twisting and turning. You thought, cross it. But he would do an extra twist and then he'd lose the ball. And I think there is a player in there. Are we seeing it yet? No, I do agree with that. And it is frustrating because nights like tonight it's almost tailor-made for someone like Vlasic. Just step up and say, just give me the ball. Ben Rama looked better with him in the second half. Let's put it like that. Ben Rama looked better than Vlasic tonight in the second half. Yeah. That's what Vlasic should have been doing for the whole 90 minutes. That whole, give me the ball, let me dribble with it. And I just think I do think there's a player there. I do think there's a player in there. We'll have to wait and see kind of thing. Who's your man of match, my friend? I think there's an obvious one.
What, you think it's Longello, do you?
Yeah, I think it's Longello.
Yeah,
I thought he was the...
He really grew into the game, didn't he? The longer it went on, the more it got. He must have got a hell of an engine on him, hasn't he? As he was talking again, it
looks like a better version of Masuaku than Masuaku.
Well, let me tell you about him, actually. Twice.
Masuaku.
I've told you about Masuaku before. Twice, the winger got down there and he tried to cross. What Masuaku doesn't do is block a cross. He just doesn't block a cross. And I mentioned it after the Chelsea game that actually Diop basically showed Masuaku how to do it. Diop ran across and just blocked across. That's how you stick your leg out, you get your body in there, stick your hands behind your back and you block the cross, right? 2 crosses were blocked for all the stuff, and I thought he was marauding going forward, and there was so much of that game, his intensity and his desire and confidence, by the way. It's just so easy when you've got, well, I don't even mean football, when you've got a new job to do just only what's asked of you and play it safe. But no, if I'm going to actually keep going forward, I'm going to have a go at this lot because no one else is bloody doing it, right? But actually, the way he blocked the cross twice, bang, he done it twice. And I actually thought then, if I was David Moyes, I'd be looking at it thinking, well, actually, you're actually already defending better than Masuaku does, so maybe you're an option for me there with that. But yes, I would agree. It was a force of nature as the game went on. I got more and more impressed with him. But as I say, for all that back four, for all individual reasons, very, very good.
Yeah, Longello impressed me the most. He was actually the one, I don't mind admitting this, he was the one I was most wary of the back four. Once the team came out, I thought, he's the one I'm least confident in having a future at West Ham prior to this evening. Because I remember when he sort of come onto the scene a couple of seasons ago now, in a couple of cup games, friendlies, looked good. He just sort of disappears. He just disappears off the radar. He's not in this, doesn't make the bench for the team, whereas we've seen Elise on the bench, we've seen Baptiste on the bench. Ashby was on the bench against Chelsea. The other 3 have all had moments in the first team squad, not on the pitch, but they've been in the squad. Whereas Longello's not really had that. So when the lineup come out tonight, I was confident. At least one centre back and Ashby would start, as were you, and weren't too sure about Longello or whatever. So it started, and I thought, oh, here we go. He's the one I was most impressed with by the end of it. I thought he was the man of the match. I thought defensively he was pretty strong. I thought he got forward really well. Always an option, looked very confident. He wasn't afraid to try and take players on, try and get the ball in the box and stuff. I thought, good on you, because you don't want a player under 23s to come in and almost hide a little bit. You show your personality on the football pitch. That's what's got you through the years at West Ham. That's what's got you into the first team squad tonight, being Longello. Be Longello on the football pitch, please. And I thought we saw that this evening. I was very, very impressed by him, actually. And tell you what, I'd have him in the squad for Sunday at least. If Alan Creswell's injured, I think Moyes has got a genuine option there as to what to do. Just for Sunday against Burnley, that's all. I'm not talking about against Arsenal midweek or that. I think that's a different kettle of fish. But for Sunday, I do think Moyes might be thinking, all right, at least I've got something here to work with. Very, very impressed by him. Anyway, anything else you'd like to add, my friend?
No, just on Longello. I think that time when we saw him, I know what you're alluding to. I think he was very skinny then. He was like this beanpole thing running down the left wing. He looks like a man now. He does, and but very impressed, mate. Very impressed with what I saw. I mean, so many positives to take out of it, and I think, I do think it would have at least looked at 3 of those players and thought, actually, if I need you, I can probably use you, as you say. Against Arsenal, no, but actually this season in certain games, if I need you, I can call on you, and actually you'll be fine.
Anyway, a loss for West Ham United on the evening, but victory for the club overall, with 5 youngsters starting the game and 2 more players making their debut under David Moyes. That's now 12 players from the academy that made their debut at West Ham United under the tenure of David Moyes. If you've enjoyed the review, drop a like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Myself and Gonzo. Catch you tomorrow.